So recently on the channel, I showcased what I'm calling the new strongest loadout in the game, as the previous Flash AC Blackout AR boom build basically got ruined because Fallen Love Ranger Jonesy now produces 2 energy in support instead of 6, and that just completely neutered the build. Nowadays, the best thing to go for, in my personal opinion, is a Dirge Song with a 1-second reload. In that video, I was changing that build kind of for Horde mode and optimizing it just for that, and it wasn't exactly what I'd recommend. I said I'd make a follow-up video. This is that video. So the loadout starts as follows. Tactical Assault Sledgehammer, because we are going to be guaranteed critting. We're going to be booming for a ridiculous amount of extra damage, and we're using Tactical Assault Sledgehammer instead of Beetle Jess because even as an Outlander, she's great. The abilities are nice to have, but these bonuses down here are nice. Extra damage and extra damage are both pretty good. Soldiers are just kind of tankier in general. We're going to need that health. I think that pairs really well. And then we got Preemptive Strike. So I'm not using Totally Rockin' Out, and that's very intentional. Totally Rockin' Out heals us for a lot, which is really, really bad when low health equals big damage. We'll be getting into the weapon in a second. If you can't follow this, don't worry. If you've never seen any of these builds, I'll explain everything in a second. So Preemptive Strike will make sure that every single shot on a full health target will do a lot of extra damage, 32.5%. That's a pretty good amount, and I promise you, it's a team perk we don't see often, but I promise you it's pretty much the only team perk that's helping this build kind of at all, and the support perks are actually necessary. So we are going to be booming for millions of damage, but I tested this build about 6 different times with increasing support squads, and you do actually need these damage perks. It's a little bit each, but it adds up to be very useful. Rescue Trooper Ramirez, we all get this hero pretty much from the tutorial, so upping that SMG damage is going to be very impactful. Locked and Reloaded, we're going to be reloading between every shot, makes sense. Battle Beat, if you just get a few kills, she'll do some extra damage, and I'm thinking, oh, well, never mind. I'm going to scrap that thought because Battle Beat and Rex Jonesy pair really well. They've been bugged forever. Rex Jonesy adds damage based on your health, which we will be low on, so he's not going to be very useful. But when he gets a kill with his damage applied, it cuts Battle Beat's kills by 2 instead of 1. It's kind of nice, but it won't be useful here. So First Assault is huge. First Shot Rio is absolutely critical to make this build as good as it needs to be. After reloading, you're guaranteed crit. That is exactly why we have Sledge in the lead. That's a big deal, and why we don't need Totally Rockin' Out. Previously, I was using Totally Rockin' Out because the Dirge Song has a 9-round burst, and making those next 7 shots crit more felt valuable to me. I don't know how often it came into play, and it healed us too much. And the last one is my least favorite. Swamp Knight is not helping nearly as much as you would think, but he is helping a bit. So if you want a 2-burst, a power level 250 smasher, he will be a factor. Now, finally, the weapon. I'm sorry you guys had to picture so much. If you guys have never seen these builds before, you could be confused, but this is the 6th perk that we are abusing. So when you reload, it gives you a huge explosive damage bonus on your next hit, and that bonus is millions of damage. In the past, we took advantage of the fact that hero ability damage actually factored into that a lot, and that's why we were able to use Flash AC in the lead, a hero that gives you no damage bonus whatsoever, but he had such a high hero ability damage, and for whatever reason that hero ability damage is factored into the calculations of that explosion, it actually impacted it a lot. But this time, we're throwing hero ability damage out the window, and we're just critting as hard as we can with Sledgehammer, and it actually kind of makes up the difference. So not only is that an explosive damage bonus, but that explosion goes in a 0.75 tile radius, which is a 1.5 tile diameter, affecting a lot of enemies around it, and that is one of the reasons I call this the strongest build in the game, because technically speaking, if you're just talking about damage per second, something like a Ground Pounder with Totally Rockin' Out to double crit damage actually keeps up. That is an extremely strong build that can maintain its output with very little breaks. All you got to do is just be throwing a grenade or shockwaving or war crying, and you will sustain an extremely high 3 million damage per second. I'll have that video linked in the description down below, but the reason I don't say a build like that is the best in the game is because that is single target. Now, you do spray shotgun shells, you can hit multiple targets at a time if you play smart, but we're going to be doing about 2 million DPS with this weapon, but that scales to everything in range, and that is insanely strong. One more candidate for what might actually be the strongest build in the game is a Nocturnal loadout. And I don't like to advertise a Nocturnal loadout as the strongest loadout in the game because very few players have that weapon. It's a paid weapon. You can't even get it anymore. It's just an ugly topic, but it is a monster. That thing can take down a mini boss in one magazine. So the perks, crit rating because it's a 9-round burst, and I do want to make sure that those next 7 shots can crit. Double crit damage because, of course, that's the name of the game here, and reload because it's been bugged for a long time to show weapons having a 1-second reload. Every weapon looks like it has a 1-second reload, but I promise you, the Dersong actually does have a 1.0 second reload. Now, we're going to be using fire because we're in a nature zone, and it's pretty much our only choice. If you're doing this in Horde or something, physical is fine, but yeah, that's the weapon. Those are a bunch of strongest loadouts, and that's kind of a defense to my claim for why this is the strongest loadout in the game, in my opinion, and then this is kind of what we're rolling with. I think classic Flash AC did beat out this build, but I should say that this loadout has been around even back then. When Flash AC was fueled with 6 energy per second and working at its best, I favored that because of the burst damage. You could boom phase shift, boom phase shift, boom phase shift, and just unload and just delete smashers. It was so easy and so consistent, but the Dersong is a little slower, having that 1-second reload. However, because you're not reliant on energy, you can output that damage extremely consistently because you can always just boom, reload, boom, reload, boom, reload. You never even have to move around. You're not dashing all around the place. You're not sending yourself off the map. It's just a lot more consistent and outputting similar damage. So I think we're going to have a good time. All right, so here's how the build works. First, you have to shoot, but then after you reload, you are off to the races. Everything after that reload is easy. You just 1-second downtime, shoot, 1-second downtime, shoot. And the Dersong actually does a pretty good amount of damage on its own. Because we have that crit rating perk, you don't actually need to have that reload queued up. And you can see versus a smasher, it is an absurd amount of damage. That was 1 burst, and I didn't even hit him in the head. Very, very strong. All right, we're not going to have too many clips of normal enemy deaths in this game because you get the idea. You reload, you point at the target, and they die. Normal enemies at this point actually includes a power level 160 smasher because, well, 1 burst is 1 kill. All right, challenging encampment here. Happy to demonstrate just how powerful that explosion is because it's so satisfying. Even with the shielders spawning in and protecting everything, the explosion just hits everything. All you got to do is hit generally near it, 0.75 tiles away, and you are just fine. Obviously, because we are doing more damage with lower health, we are playing it very dangerous here. In fact, I can't really go out into the storm, and I need to be very mindful of these beehives because if I'm not, I will die, and I need to be aware of the range shooters right there because if they shoot me, I will die. But so long as I play carefully, everything dies in 1 hit. Another encampment. Let's see here. Without even entering in, let's actually tag that smasher over there. Bring him to me. Okay. And then we need to make sure that we are safe. So let's do the ranged guys first. Hey, whoa. There we go. Oh, no, I missed. No, there we go. All right. 9-round burst. Even got more damage on the downfall because this burst is so long. 9 bursts is so much. Like, most weapons burst for 3, maybe 4 if you're the Trinity. 9 is just ridiculous. Okay, I'm gonna just heal myself, run out into the storm because I want to grab these things. Gosh, I hope it doesn't take me too long to kill a smasher. Okay, good, we got it. All right, I feel like you guys deserve more gameplay because of that ridiculously long intro. So I might run 2 games, but I think we need to get the defense started because power level 160 enemies just put up way too little resistance to this weapon, and I feel like we need to play around with the bigger targets. All right, the defense begins. So let's use an SMG at range. We pretty much... dying so easily. We pretty much need to prioritize mist monsters because everything else is just going to die super easily. And as I'm saying that, the mist monsters are dying in 1 hit. So I started this defense with minimal concern for our actual team defense because it just... doesn't matter. We don't really need trap tunnels when this weapon will just delete everything. I think a teammate might be using the same build. A lot of the people in my lobbies tend to do that. But I think AS, Aaron Squash in the top left there, he might be testing another black metal boom build. I'm not exactly sure what he's up to, but yeah. Thank you guys on the stream. If you guys ever want to watch these videos live, I stream on Twitch and YouTube. Mostly on Twitch though, because it's the better platform. I've streamed on both for a long time, but I really prefer Twitch. That's definitely the place you want to check me out if you guys ever want to catch one of these videos live. I do record almost all my videos on stream, by the way. So yeah, I'm gonna maybe get up top there and stop dying. All right, we're back in the action. So we are at full health, but we'll see. We'll see if that makes a difference. Oh no, I missed. Okay, so that is kind of nice, honestly. In the other builds, when you had to use the phase shift to get around, if you missed one of your shots, it kind of mattered because you had like a limitation on how many dashes you had. But with this build, you're not so worried about that. Oh, look at all those throwing thoughts. Dead in one boom. So satisfying. And the nurses just blew themselves up, so okay. And this is another thing. So you can see he's definitely testing a blackout build, but I don't need the crow's nest. I don't need to play it safe necessarily in that regard. I'm not going to be flying off the side of the building here. I do need to play it safe, like up top and far away, but I can also, you know, just not have to be dashing around, which is really nice because with a Flash AC build, you had to correct your aim over and over, and that can be a big problem when you're trying to go quickly, play smart, play safe. It's tough, and I liked that. Previously, I liked the fact that you could get the high risk, high reward, or the high skill, high reward. You know, you had to have really good aim. You had to be able to stay alive. Like, there was a lot you had to keep track of. With the Darsong build, it was similar performance with 7 more bullets per shot. Somebody in chat asked me, like, if this was more cost effective, and the answer is no, because you're shooting so many more bullets to achieve the same result. I want to grab those items so bad. I want to grab them so bad, but then I thought if I do that, I'll die. And then by coming down here and being lured in by the scent of the fresh pie sitting in the windowsill, I ended up dying anyway. So let's just ignore it. If you guys have been, you know, subscribed to the channel, checking out the videos, you'll know that I've been doing a lot of farming videos recently, and that has put me in a really good position. I, as an endgame player, especially with an online audience who drops me free stuff all the time, I don't need mechanical parts, and that's not to brag, that's just to convince myself that I don't need to run into certain death while I'm recording a video to pick up resources I don't need. I will say, AS, you know, testing a build is great. I love it when he comes up with new science and things that I can show. He always is happy for me to show those videos on the channel, but when I am making my own video... it can be really tough to see a mist monster die right in front of my face, but it's fine. I think we've pretty much seen what we need to see. At this point, we're all just enjoying the carnage together. If you guys are just eating your food, having a good time, this is just what we want. A nice top-down view, watching somebody else get the explosion instead of me. As long as the enemies are dying, that's just the beauty. That's just the beautiful... Oh no, I shot the propane. That was my bad. Yep, user error. So, precision would have gone a long way there, but you can see everything just dies, you know? You just queue it up, you reload, you shoot, you reload, you shoot. It's not a very complicated build. So, because I might record a second part, I think I'm just going to pause for a second here, and then I'll come back if we see smashers or something that might survive more than one burst. So, if you're just chewing your food and you want some nice carnage to see, then we'll get that taken care of. All right, here we go. Got another mist monster right here in the middle of a crowd. Oh, look at this. Nice, beautiful crowd clearing. As I said earlier, there are builds that out-damage this loadout, like specifically speaking, just DPS-wise, damage per second. But when it comes to crowd clearing, that is where this excels. Oh no, a bunch of basic enemies. Well, one shot in the middle just takes them all out. And it's so satisfying over and over and over. It says 7 million damage. That was not single target. That was 7 million damage to all the enemies in the surrounding area. And you could see just reload after reload, they all just fall. So good. Oh my goodness. It's never... Leave him alone, AS. Leave him alone! It's never happened in the history of recording these black metal builds where I actually get a mini boss that I can affect. They're always smoke screen. They're always trap vulnerable. They're ricochet. This series has been cursed. But finally, I can do something to a mini-boss. Little Ben's war cry from the stream. Oh, so good. And my teammates left him alone for the most part. Thank you, guys. Obviously, mini-bosses are not meant to be soloed. It's meant to be a team aspect. But everybody in my lobby knows I am here to record a video. So they know the drill. We talked about this. And yeah, thank you guys for letting me demonstrate this weapon and its power. Because that is another comparison that I wasn't really making as clearly earlier, is that the consistency of the reload is really valuable to me, because phase shifting was fun for all the reasons I've talked about extensively, but I have to admit, when it came to mini bosses, it was tough. If you got an energy pylon, you could phase shift about 8 times before you're out of energy. And that meant that you could do 8 bursts of about 2 million damage. So 16 million damage is down, and that is not enough to kill a mini boss. So you were kind of stuck. you weren't getting any kills with that, more than likely. So Fallen Love Ranger didn't kick in. You're out of energy, and now you're just waiting 2 seconds after the last phase shift for the 6.2 energy per second that the game naturally gives you. And then that means every 3rd second you can actually smashers. You can actually phase shift again, which meant when it came to fighting a mini boss, yes, I pre-crafted a copy because I knew it would break. When it comes to fighting a mini boss with the other build, you kind of just couldn't. You could do a big burst of damage and then you ran out and that was it. So there we go. Easy 2 burst on the smasher is another advantage to this build. I would heal. He's already gone. All right, well, I would heal him, but I can't. So, because I would lose all my damage, but that's another advantage. So you can do consistent damage output to a mini boss, and when you're low health. Did he get healed by a team? So I didn't adrenaline rush him, so I didn't lose all my damage. All for a teammate to do it anyway, and then I lost all my damage. Well, all right. Smasher going down easily in 2 bursts is so much an improvement. Like, that's so good. Oh no! Oh crap. See, the burst isn't guaranteed crit. So that's why if I miss my shot, I usually queue up another reload, because the burst, look, if you don't shoot an enemy, you can see it's still on fire. It'll still work, but you can see that didn't even kill the Riot Husky. When it doesn't have that guaranteed chance to crit, it does a lot less. All right, we're back in the game. I can hear the smasher behind me. What? Man, that is how much a health difference makes. That was a headshot too. Okay, so now that I got attacked by some enemies and I lowered some health, I can get back to the carnage, but then the game ends. So yeah, like I said, with a 6-minute intro to this video, I'm sure I spliced in some gameplay, but I still feel like I owe you guys a little bit more. Let's hop into one more game, just the defense, and enjoy this build some more. All right, straight into a new game. Here we go. I'm going to be cherry picking large crowds and mist monsters as per usual, because, you know, these are like the only things that this build can even affect. Everything else just dies instantly, and that is why I love this build. It's kind of gone up in my preference. I always preferred the Blackout AR, as I mentioned, but what was that? Why does my ping go up? This is like a common bug that's been in Fortnite forever. It might be my internet, but other people have reported having similar issues in Fortnite, and that kind of thing only happens to me in Fortnite. It drives me crazy, but yeah, it comes and goes. Sometimes the issue happens over and over, sometimes it goes away. I don't know, but I always prefer the Blackout build, but now since that build's been ruined, this has become kind of my preferred, and I love it. I love the concept of reloading and just sniping an enemy from far away. I even used a similar version of this build with my Raven loadout. Yeah, a little Ben's War Cry for that. Link in the description down below. Posted it on my birthday, June 30th, by the way. And that was a fun build where you're effectively using Raven and his super powerful lefty and righty explosion ability, and then you are reducing the ability cooldown by using Where's Lefty, which is basically just taking off a second for every single SMG or pistol kill. So you basically use the lefty and righty, switch to the Dirge Song, get a bunch of kills, switch back to the lefty and righty, Dirge Song, lefty and righty. It's a really fun build, just going back and forth, and it's certainly one of my favorites. So yeah, definitely a good video to check out if you guys enjoy this one as well. So I'm going to pause again until we see maybe some smashers or some mist monsters. We'll see what pops up. All right, we're back. So while you were gone, I was just, you know, shooting enemies. So here's what I did. I would reload, and then they would die. And as a content creator, I have this pressure to keep things interesting, of course. But as a viewer, you know, you guys might have varying opinions on what you want. I feel like as a viewer myself, I wouldn't mind just watching the carnage roll. But I can also understand that we've all pretty much seen this now. Like, you reload, you aim at a target, and then everything around it dies. It's really, really satisfying. That's why I need a smasher or a mini boss, something that's going to survive more than one hit. And taking down smashers quickly is one of the most satisfying things you can do in Fortnite Save the World. It is so gorgeous. The strongest enemy in the game with a, what is it, like a 5.3 million HP? So good. Now, okay, all right. It's not the strongest in the game. Chrome Husks are stronger. Mini bosses can be more. Tank mini bosses don't technically have double health. They just take half damage from every source, which is different, but not really. So those enemies are higher, but I consider a smasher the highest in the sense that it's the highest normal target. You know, when you're playing a game day to day, when you're playing this game day to day, you're only going to be encountering smashers. You know, chrome husks are seasonal, mini bosses are once per game. Smashers are pretty much the biggest enemy that you're going to come across normally, and to watch them go down quickly feels really, really good. Where is that coming from? Is there a flinger that I missed? Is he hiding somewhere? Oh, maybe perhaps right in front of my face. Jeez, they're just glitching around. They're just teleporting around in front of my face. Thank you, AS, by the way. Errant Squash. What a beautiful Xbox generated name. Some of the names that have been generated from that naming scheme is just amazing. It might not be Xbox, but I was an Xbox kid growing up, so I can remember names like Spooniest Peak. Like, what even is that? It's like fake verbs and a random vowel, like, or not a vowel, a noun. Like, what does that even mean, Spooniest Peak? Oh, you know, I would love to see some comments on some of the weirdest random generated names you've ever seen. This is what I'm talking about! Trap vulnerable. It's like the curse of this loadout. Somebody in chat was asking what the best wall traps are, and here you go. Broadsides do the highest damage, wall damage, I guess. And if you're trying to take down a mini boss quickly, first off, don't have your ping spike a ton, and then second, just trap them in broadsides. Wall darts are also great. A lot of people actually favor wall darts because they will shoot 3 tiles, pierce enemies, they'll do a ton of damage, and they're not like broadsides where, okay, everybody, broadside cannonballs bounce, people. Broadside cannonballs bounce. They need walls to bounce against to do maximum damage. Just needed to get that out. And wall darts don't need that, so they could be a lot more effective. Here we go. Here we go. Smashers getting 2 bursted. That's what I wanted from this build. And you can definitely see preemptive strike coming into play here. It's actually going a long way. And oh, I got hit. I wanted to snipe him. There we go. It's so hard to stay alive in a build like this because I wanted to snipe the Riot Husky and get him in one clean burst there, but I missed, and then you get hit by one enemy, and I'm on 1 HP, so I basically need to have eyes in every direction, which is kind of impossible. I'm dealing with acid pools, targets from all directions, baby zombies that run on up. I'm not really sure there's any gameplay that's going to keep me alive forever with certainty, but I'm just going to keep on going for it. I'm just going to keep on living my dream, hoping that more smashers spawn, because that is what I want to kill with this build. That is what makes me happy, and that is what I hope I'll see. I think I'll pause until we see a smasher. So I've got names in chat like Squaggly Tulip. We've got Bouncy Potato 4 as opposed to a not Bouncy Potato, I imagine. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting any more smashers this game. It's been a blast, though, pun intended. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I was on break from YouTube for a while, and I'm kind of back now, and depending on how many people check out this video and interact, I might come back more, because, you know, Save the World is a game that does not get updated as often as people would like. And right now we're in kind of a drought, and it's a little tough to stay motivated, so your guys' positivity honestly goes a long way. And this is such an insanely strong build, and I should have shared it weeks ago when I first had the motivation to do so, but here we are. The video's out, so there you go. Try out this build if you guys want to do a ton of damage. As you saw by my many deaths, it is not a guaranteed victory, but you are definitely getting very real benefits for your efforts. So if you could stay alive, you'll have a great time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and enjoy the rest of your day. And then